The rain hammered the windshield like accusations from a forgotten god. But Alexander didn't flinch as he gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white against the leather. In the passenger seat, Ethan stared out at the blurred Manhattan skyline, his jaw set like it was carved from the same unyielding granite as the skyscrapers we were fleeing. "You think this changes anything?" Ethan spat, his voice a low growl that cut through the storm's roar. "You locked me away once. Freedom's just another cage if it's from you." Alexander's heart seized, a phantom echo of iron bars clanging shut in a life that wasn't supposed to be his anymore. He'd known Ethan in that other world, 16th century England, where Alexander had been the spoiled son of a duke, and Ethan his shadow, his shield, his secret sin. Love had twisted into possession, jealousy into chains. Alexander had thrown him in the dungeons for a whispered affair with a stable boy, watching from the battlements as Ethan's cries faded into the fog. Reborn now in the neon pulse of New York, Alexander had clawed his way to tech mogul status, billions in algorithms that predicted everything except forgiveness. But when he'd spotted Ethan older, scarred, working as a bouncer in a Hell's Kitchen dive, he'd known. The soul-deep pull, the way Ethan's green eyes still pierced like arrows. 6 months ago, Alexander had bought out the bar's debts, freed him from that dead-end grind, hired him as a consultant for his firm. A fresh start, or so he'd lied to himself. Ethan shifted, his broad shoulders straining the seams of the hoodie Alexander had bought him. Cashmere, soft as a lie. "Pull over," he demanded, not looking back. "I ain't your charity case, Alex." Never was. The name hit like a slap. Alex. In the past life, it had been whispered in the hayloft, urgent and breathless, bodies tangled under moonlight. Now it was venom. Alexander eased the Bentley to the curb on West 23rd, the wipers slapping rhythmically, mocking the silence. Streetlights cast Ethan's face in harsh gold, highlighting the fresh bruise blooming under his eye, a souvenir from last night's brawl at the bar, the one Alexander had pulled him from before fists could fly further. "You don't get it," Alexander said, his voice cracking despite the years of boardroom steel. "I remember everything. The tower. The key in my hand." Shut up." Ethan finally turned, his gaze a storm front rolling in. Those eyes, the same ones that had once burned for him, now iced over with a hatred that felt eternal. "You think some past life bullshit excuses this? You swoop in like a goddamn savior, throw money at my problems, and expect me to what? Fall to my knees? I don't know what tower you're raving about, but I know you. Rich prick who sees a stray dog and collars it." Alexander's chest hollowed. Reincarnation wasn't fair. Memories weren't evenly distributed. He'd woken at 16, gasping from dreams of stone walls and Ethan's pleas, piecing together fragments over decades. Therapy, shamans, late-night scrawls in journals no one would ever read. Ethan, blank slate, or worse, instinctual recoil, like his body remembered the betrayal even if his mind didn't. Alexander had tested it subtly. A shared cigarette in the firm's rooftop garden, the way Ethan's fingers lingered too long on the lighter. A late-night email about old wounds, Ethan's reply curt. "Not interested in metaphors, boss." But tonight, after the bar fight escalated into threats from loan sharks Alexander's lawyers had quietly dismantled, he dragged Ethan into the car. "For your safety," he'd said. For his soul's absolution. Ethan yanked the door handle, rain sluicing in like an uninvited guest. "I'm walking. Don't." Alexander's hand shot out, grabbing Ethan's wrist, muscle memory from a lifetime ago, when he'd pulled him close instead of pushing away. The touch ignited something primal. Ethan's pulse thrummed under his thumb. A betrayal of the fire still banked there. Ethan wrenched free, but not before Alexander saw the flicker. Confusion. Heat. Gone in a blink. "Touch me again, and I'll break it," he snarled, slamming the door. He strode into the downpour, shoulders hunched against the world, vanishing into the alley's maw. Alexander sat there, engine idling, the rain a relentless dirge. He'd freed him from debts, from danger, but the real prison was this: loving a man who carried his sins in his bones, etched there by hands that were his own. The next morning, Alexander's penthouse on the Upper East Side felt like a tomb, marble floors echoing his footsteps, floor-to-ceiling windows framing a city that never slept but always judged. He poured black coffee, strong as regret, and scrolled his phone for updates from the PI he'd hired on Ethan. Subject at gym. No incidents. Good. Safe. But isolation gnawed at him. He'd canceled meetings, feigned a flu to chase ghosts. A buzz from the intercom. "Mr. Hale? Delivery." He wasn't expecting anything. The doorman wheeled in a crate, wooden, unmarked, the size of a footlocker. Alexander's gut twisted. It smelled of damp earth and old iron. With trembling hands, he pried it open. Inside, a rusted manacle, chain links coiled like a serpent. No note. But he knew. Ethan's handwriting, scrawled on the crate's lid in Sharpie. "Remember the tower? Burn it." Alexander's knees buckled. He sank to the floor, the cuff cold against his palm. Flashes assaulted him, the past life. Ethan's wrists raw from months in the dark. His voice hoarse through the slot. "Why, my lord? For loving you." Alexander had turned away then, drowning in his own fear of scandal, of a world that hanged men for what they shared in the night. Now, in this life of glass and steel, the echo was deafening. He needed to see him. Explain. Beg, if that's what it took. The gym was in Chelsea, a no-frills spot where sweat and grunts drowned out the world's noise. Alexander parked curbside, his tailored suit absurd amid the joggers in neon. Inside, the air reeked of rubber mats and exertion. Ethan was at the heavy bag, fists flying in a rhythm that screamed rage, jab, cross, hook, each impact a punctuation to unspoken fury. Alexander waited by the water fountain, heart hammering louder than the thuds. When Ethan finally paused, wiping sweat with a forearm, their eyes locked across the room. Ethan's expression shuddered, but he didn't run. "Progress? Or trap?" "You shouldn't be here," Ethan said, approaching with the wariness of a cornered wolf. Close. The bruise had purpled, a map of violence Alexander itched to erase. "I had to." "The crate. Fuck the crate." Ethan's voice was low, but the gym's din carried it like a confession. "I found it in my locker this morning. Some anonymous tip. Thought it was a joke till I saw the engraving inside." He leaned in, breath hot against Alexander's ear. "H. Forever. Ring any bells?" "Alex." Alexander's world tilted. The initials, his, etched in the past life on a gift turned curse. The cuff a twisted token before the imprisonment. How? Ethan couldn't remember. Unless The flicker last night. The touch. Maybe fragments were surfacing, jagged and unwilling. It's not what you think, Alexander whispered, the lie tasting like ash. Let me explain. Dinner. My place. No strings. Ethan's laugh was bitter, stripped bare. Strings are all you know, but he didn't say no. He grabbed his duffel, jerked his head toward the door. 1 hour. And if it's more of your mind games, I'm gone for good. In the elevator ride to the penthouse, silence stretched taut as a bowstring. Ethan studied the panel's glow, arms crossed, tattooed forearms flexing, a sleeve of thorns and roses Alexander had traced in dreams. Why me? Ethan finally asked, not looking up. Outta all the broke assholes in this city, why pull my ass from the fire? Because I broke you once. Because I can't without you. You remind me of someone, Alexander said instead, the half-truth a bomb. The doors dinged open to opulence. Crystal chandelier dripping light like tears, a wall of books Alexander never read. Ethan whistled low, dropping his bag. Looks like a museum for rich orphans. Alexander poured scotch, top shelf, peaty from a bar cart older than their shared history. Sit. Eat. Catered spread. Steak. Rare as confessions. Asparagus spears like prison bars. They ate in the dining room, city lights twinkling below like distant stars. Ethan devoured his portion, manners be damned, while Alexander picked at his, words bubbling up like bile. It started with a dream, he began, voice steady as he could manage. Me, in a castle. You, save the fairy tale. Ethan set down his fork, green eyes narrowing. I ain't buying reincarnation crap. But that cuff, it's real. And your face when you saw it, you knew. Alexander nodded, throat tight. I did. I was him. The one who locked you away. Jealousy. Fear. I thought freeing you now would balance the scales. Ethan leaned back, chair scraping like a gauntlet thrown. Freeing me? You think paying off my debts erases the fact that I wake up every night choking on invisible chains? That I look at you and feel? He trailed off, fist clenching on the tablecloth. Feel what? Alexander pressed, leaning forward, the air between them charged as a storm about to break. Like I've been burned before I even touched the flame. Ethan's admission hung there, raw and unintended. He stood abruptly, chair toppling. This was a mistake. Alexander rose too, blocking the path to the door. Ethan, please. In that life, I loved you. Too much to let you go. Not enough to let you live. The words landed like a blow. Ethan's breath hitched, eyes searching Alexander's face for the lie. For a heartbeat, the past bled into the present. Hayloft shadows, stolen kisses, the Duke's son trembling under his guard's touch. Then Ethan shoved past, shoulder clipping Alexander's. Love's a pretty word for a cage. The elevator swallowed him, doors closing on Alexander's plea. Alone again, Alexander sank into the leather sofa, scotch burning a path to his gut. The city hummed below, indifferent. He'd freed the body, but the soul? That was a war yet to wage. Days blurred into a haze of board meetings and bourbon. Alexander's firm, Hale Dynamics, churned out AI for stock trades, but his mind was elsewhere, plotting, scheming a way to crack Ethan's armor. The PI reported, Ethan back at the gym, taking odd jobs, dodging shadows. Loan sharks neutralized, but grudges lingered. A week later, crisis struck. Alexander's phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Unknown number. "Hale? It's Marco. From the kitchen. Your boy's in trouble. Warehouse on 12th. Come quick." Heart in his throat, Alexander threw on clothes, tires screeching through empty streets. The warehouse loomed, a rusting behemoth by the Hudson, sodium lights buzzing like angry wasps. Inside, shouts echoed, fists on flesh, a grunt that twisted Alexander's insides. He burst through a side door, scene unfolding in strobe, Ethan cornered, 3 thugs circling, brass knuckles glinting. Blood trickled from Ethan's lip, but he fought like a demon, elbow to a nose, knee to a gut. "Enough!" Alexander roared, voice amplified by terror. He lunged, tackling the nearest brute, suit ripping as they hit concrete. Fists flew, pain bloomed in his ribs, but adrenaline sang. Ethan finished the third with a headbutt, staggering back, chest heaving. Their eyes met amid the groans. Shock, then something fiercer. Gratitude? No. Accusation. "You followed me?" Ethan panted, wiping blood on his sleeve. "Saved you." Alexander pushed up, wincing. The word hung. Saved. In the past. He damned. Ethan stepped closer, the air thick with sweat and unspoken fury. "I didn't ask, but you needed." Alexander's hand found Ethan's arm, steadying. Touch again, electric, forbidden. For a moment, Ethan didn't pull away. His gaze dropped to Alexander's lips, a ghost of hunger. Then reality crashed, sirens wailing distant, thugs stirring. "Go," Ethan muttered, shoving him toward the door. Before they wake, they fled separately, shadows in the night. Alexander's apartment welcomed him with silence, but sleep evaded. Dawn found him pacing, replaying the fight the way Ethan's body moved, poetry in violence, the brush of their shoulders in escape. By noon, a text, "Jim. Now, we talk." Hope flickered, fragile as a match in wind. The gym smelled of liniment and last night's regrets, heavy bags swaying like pendulums counting down to judgment. Ethan was in the ring, shadowboxing with a ferocity that turned heads, trainers pausing, novices gaping. Alexander slipped in quietly, claiming a bench near the ropes, his presence a ripple Ethan ignored until the round ended. Sweat slicked, Ethan vaulted the ropes, landing with a thud that vibrated through Alexander's bones. He grabbed a towel, mopping his face, but his eyes, those verdant daggers, pinned Alexander in place. "You got a death wish, showing up like this? After last night?" Alexander stood, hands in pockets to hide the tremor. "Had to see if you were okay." "Bruise looks worse," Ethan snorted, but didn't retreat when Alexander reached, fingers ghosting the swelling under his cheekbone. "I've had worse. From better men." The jab landed, but Alexander held ground. "Coffee?" Across the street. Neutral turf. Ethan's jaw worked, indecision etching lines around his mouth. Finally, 5 minutes. The diner was a throwback, formica counters, vinyl stools cracked like old hearts, waitresses calling orders in Brooklyn accents thick as gravy. They slid into a booth by the window, steam rising from mugs of Diner Joe, black and bitter. "You pull that hero shit again. We're done." Ethan started, No preamble. I handle my own messes. Alexander nodded, stirring sugar he didn't take. Fair. But Marco called. Said you were meeting old friends. Sounded bad. Old friends. Ethan's lip curled. Sharks smelling blood. Debts you freed me from? They think I snitched. Guilt coiled in Alexander's gut. His lawyers had been too thorough. I'll fix it. Stop fixing. Ethan's fist clenched around his mug, knuckles blanching. Every time you help, it feels like owing you. Like I'm back in that hole, scraping for light. The words clawed at Alexander. Hole. Tower. He leaned in, voice dropping. Ethan, listen. The dreams, they're real. I see us. You, swearing fealty in a great hall. Me hiding how your oath made me ache. Nights in the stables. Your hands. Jesus. Alex. Ethan recoiled, but not far. Color flushed his neck. A tell Alexander remembered from stolen moments. You sound crazier than my ex. But, he rubbed his temple, eyes distant. Lately, flashes. Cold stone. A key turning. Waking up screaming your name. Alexander's breath caught. Breakthrough. It's us. I imprisoned you because I couldn't share you. A boy. Shut up. But Ethan's voice cracked, hand shooting across the table to grip Alexander's wrist. Hard. Possessive. Don't paint me as the victim. If it's true, I chose you. Every time, the touch seared, memories flooding, Ethan's calloused palms mapping Alexander's skin, whispers of forever amid hay-scented dark. Here, in fluorescent glare, it was a lifeline tossed across centuries. The waitress broke the spell, refilling mugs with a wink. You boys look intense. Breakup or makeup? Neither, Ethan muttered, releasing Alexander like a burn. But the ghost lingered, warm on his skin. They parted awkwardly, Ethan to the gym, Alexander to a meeting he barely attended. His mind replayed the grip, the admission, progress. But shadows loomed. The PI texted. Subjects from warehouse talking retaliation. Target E. Alexander's blood ran cold. He couldn't lose him again. Not when the past was cracking open. That evening, he invited Ethan to a gala, his firm's annual bash at the Met, black tie excess masking corporate knives. As my +1, he texted. No expectations. Just be there. Ethan's reply, tux or nah, I'll send one. The package arrived at Ethan's walk-up in Astoria, Queens brownstone. Fire escapes dripping ivy. Inside, Armani, midnight blue, with a note, you wore worse in the past. This suits the man you are now. Ethan stared at the fabric, fingers tracing seams. Flashes hit harder. Velvet doublet, Alexander's fingers lingering at his collar. Fuck, he whispered, dressing like armor for war. The Met steps glittered under chandeliers, paparazzi flashes popping like gunfire. Alexander waited at the top, tux sharp as a blade, smile practiced. When Ethan emerged from the limo, tall, broad, the suit hugging like a lover, heads turned. Whispers rippled. Hale's new arm candy. Looking good. Guard. Alexander murmured, offering an arm that Ethan ignored but stayed close to. Inside, champagne flutes clinked. Strings swelled from the temple of Dender. Donors schmoozed. Deals whispered behind fans. Ethan stuck to Alexander's side, a silent sentinel, green eyes scanning threats. "You clean up nice," Alexander said, guiding him through the crowd. "Reminds me of court balls. You, in livery, stealing breaths." Ethan's laugh was low, genuine. "Flatterer. But yeah. Feels familiar. Like I've stood in rooms like this, hating the lace but loving the view." Their eyes locked, heat building. Alexander's hand brushed Ethan's lower back. Proprietary. Electric. Ethan tensed, but leaned in. "Careful. People talk. Let them." A waltz struck up, couples swirling. Alexander extended a hand. "Dance?" Ethan hesitated, then took it. On the floor, bodies close, the world faded. Ethan's hand at Alexander's waist, strong and sure. Alexander's on his shoulder, thumb tracing collarbone. They moved as one instinct, memory, something deeper. "Your trouble?" Ethan breathed, forehead to Alexander's. "Always were." "Kiss me," Alexander whispered, bold in the throng. Ethan's eyes darkened, lips parting. But then shatter. A glass smashed nearby, shouts erupting. Ethan spun, shoving Alexander behind him as a man lunged. Familiar face from the warehouse, knife glinting. Time slowed. Ethan grappled, fist connecting with jaw, but the blade sliced air. Alexander surged forward, tackling the attacker. Chaos. Security swarmed, guests screaming. In the melee, Ethan's arm wrapped Alexander's waist, hauling him back. Safe. The assailant cuffed, dragged away. Panting in a side alcove, Ethan checked Alexander over, hands frantic, eyes wild. "You idiot." "Could've." "Shoo." Alexander cupped his face, thumbs smudging sweat. "We're okay." Ethan's breath hitched, gaze dropping to Alexander's mouth. No words. Just collision, lips crashing. Hungry, centuries overdue. Ethan tasted of scotch and salt, pressing Alexander against marble, hands fisting hair. Alexander melted, legs weak, the kiss a dam breaking, past sins absolved in tongue and tooth. They broke for air, foreheads pressed. "This doesn't fix it," Ethan gasped. "But God, I want." "Hotel," Alexander murmured. "Now." The St. Regis suite was sin-wrapped in silk. Four-poster bed. Skyline view. They barely made the door, shedding tuxes like skins. Ethan's body was a revelation. Scars from this life and echoes of old wounds, muscles honed by survival. Alexander mapped them with lips, knees, worship. In bed, it was fevered, Ethan topping, pinning wrists with gentle steel, eyes locked. "Say it," he demanded, thrusting deep, voice wrecked. "Who I am to you. My everything," Alexander gasped, arching. "Always." Climax shattered them, bodies entwined, breaths sinking. After entangled sheets, Ethan traced Alexander's chest. The dreams. They're clearer now. You, turning the key. Me, begging. Alexander tensed. "I don't. Not tonight." Ethan's finger to lips. "Just hold me." Dawn crept in, gilding skin. For the first time in lifetimes, peace. But peace was fragile. Mid-morning, Ethan's phone buzzed. Marco again. More trouble. They know about the gala. Coming for payback. Ethan dressed swiftly, resolve hardening. I end this. Alone. No. Alexander sat up, sheets pooling. Together. Ethan's smile was sad. That's the problem. You always think you own the fight. He left, door clicking soft as a guillotine. Alexander paced, calling his team lawyers, fixers. But instinct screamed, follow. The meet was a derelict pier in Red Hook. Brooklyn, Hudson lapping black, gulls crying dirge. Ethan faced foreshadows, fists taped, stance wide. Words exchanged, low and lethal. Alexander watched from afar, heart pounding. When the first punch flew, he intervened. Too late? No. Catalyst. Brawl erupted. Ethan a whirlwind, but outnumbered. Alexander joined, feral fist to gut, elbow to throat. Blood slicked concrete, grunts echoing over water. They won, battered, breathing hard. Ethan rounded on him, fury blazing. I told you, you could have died. Alexander wiped blood from Ethan's brow, tender amid rage. And you almost did. For what? Guilt? Love? Ethan deflated, sinking to his haunches. It hurts, Alex. Knowing or half knowing what you did. Alexander knelt, hands framing Ethan's face. Then let me spend this life proving otherwise. A beat. Then Ethan's lips met his soft, yielding. Maybe, back at the penthouse, wounds tended, they talked. Hours bleeding into night, past confessions, this life's fears. Ethan admitted fragments, dreams of chains, of loving a man who feared the world more than loss. By midnight, barriers crumbled. Lovemaking slow, reverent Ethan vulnerable beneath, Alexander whispering apologies into skin. Forgive me, not yet, Ethan murmured, holding tight. But closer, weeks unfurled like a tentative truce, New York's autumn crisp as turning pages. Alexander scaled back, fewer interventions, more space. Ethan moved into the penthouse, temporarily, citing lease woes, but the drawer of clothes, the shared coffee press, whispered permanence. Mornings, Ethan at the stove, eggs sizzling, Alexander sneaking kisses that lingered. You're spoiling me, Alexander teased, nuzzling neck. Good. Payback. Ethan's grin flashed, but shadows lurked. Nights when dreams clawed him awake, sweat-soaked, murmuring of towers. Alexander held him then, rocking like a penance. Tell me, always the same, Ethan confessed one dawn, voice gravel. You, crown of gold, handing me the key not to freedom, but deeper dark. For your own good, you say. But your eyes. Terrified, Alexander's throat closed. Truth, unvarnished. I was. Of losing you to a world that'd kill us for this. He gestured between them, fingers laced. Ethan's gaze softened, thumb stroking Alexander's jaw. And now, still scared, every day, honesty, raw. But I'd burn empires before chaining you again. Their rhythm deepened. Runs in Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot, gallery hops in Soho. Ethan's hand warm in Alexander's, ignoring stares. At Hale Dynamics, Ethan consulted on security, ironic, given history his insights sharp, voice commanding boardrooms. Colleagues whispered, Hale's boyfriend? Ex-bouncer? Alexander shut it down with glares, pride swelling. Ethan belonged, fierce, unbowed. But cracks spidered. A dinner with investors. Wine flowing. Toasts to innovation. Ethan, uncomfortable in finery, excused himself. Alexander followed to the balcony. City sprawl below. You okay? Arm around waist. Ethan leaned in, but tension hummed. These vultures remind me of courtiers. Sucking favor, plotting falls. Alexander chuckled. Paranoid. Memories. Ethan's voice dipped. One pushed for my head. Said I bewitched you. The stable boy, long dead, but his shadow long. He was wrong. You saved me. Ethan turned, eyes searching. Did I? Or did I damn us both? Kiss then. Urgent against balustrade. Ethan's hands roaming. Possessive. Mine, he growled, nipping ear. This life. No sharing. Heat pooled, but restraint won. Later. Penthouse ablaze with candles. Takeout forgotten. Ethan stripped him slow. Lips charting scars unseen, emotional, etched deep. On the rug before the hearth. They moved like waves. Ethan above, then yielding, gasps mingling with flames crackle. After, sated, Ethan traced constellations on Alexander's chest. What if I can't forgive fully, these flashes? They choke me. Then we build around it. Alexander kissed forehead. Brick by brick, but fate, cruel playwright, scripted betrayal. It started innocuous. Ethan's phone, buzzing late. He silenced it, but Alexander glimpsed, missed you at the dive. Drinks? Are. Whose are? Casual. Over breakfast. Ethan shrugged, buttering toast. Old buddy. Ryan. From the bar days. Unease stirred, past jealousy whispering. But trust, he vowed trust. Nights later, Ethan out for air. Hours stretched. Alexander paced, wine glass sweating. Text, crashed at Marco's. Late. Lie, or paranoia. Morning brought Ethan, disheveled, eyes shadowed. Rough night. Fought off a tail. Sharks again. Alexander pulled him close. Inhaling smoke. Cologne not his. Stay safe, but doubt seated. The gala had enemies, whispers of sabotage at the firm. Alexander's rival, Victor Lang, slick hedge fund shark, hinted at leaks. Security breach, he sneered over lunch. Your new pet project, Ethan? No. But the seed sprouted. Confrontation brewed. Alexander came home early, finding Ethan on the terrace. Phone to ear. Yeah, Ryan. Tomorrow. Need to settle this. Settle what? Ethan hung, startled. Hey. Early day. Who's Ryan really? Voice steel. Ethan's brow furrowed. Told you. Friend. With late nights and secrets? Alexander stepped closer, heart fracturing. Don't lie to me. Not after. After you imprisoned me? Ethan shot back, heat rising. This ain't that, Alex. Ryan's. Complicated. Helps with the streets. The word knifed. Flashes. Stable boy. Ethan's laugh light in another's arms. You're seeing him. Accusation. Ugly. Ethan's face hardened. Jealous? Like before. It's history repeating, Alexander roared, voice echoing off glass. I freed you. Stop saying that, Ethan advanced, finger jabbing chest. You didn't free me. You bought me. And now, this, he swept arm at the penthouse. Golden cage, same as stone. Words hung, toxic. Alexander recoiled. If that's how you see it, it is. Ethan's voice broke. I love you. Damn it. But love shouldn't feel like owing. Love. First utterance. But too late, poison spread. Ethan grabbed keys, stormed out. Door slam reverberated like dungeon gate. Alexander collapsed, sobs racking. Betrayal his own, projected. Past sins birthing new. Days, radio silence. PI tracked Ethan to a motel in Jersey, cheap, anonymous. Alexander resisted storming in. Instead, letters, handwritten, poured from soul. I see my flaws in your pain. Forgive my blindness. Or don't. But no, you are my redemption, earned or not. No reply. Climax brewed in storm. Lang struck. Leaked emails. Hail dynamics tanking. Alexander in war room. Screens bleeding red. Then, call from motel. Ethan's voice. Strained. Alex. Ryan. He set it up. The leaks. For Lang. I found out too late. Where are you? Panic. Coming back. But they're here, Lang's men. Sirens in background. Crash. Line dead. Alexander flew, traffic a blur. Heart thunder. Motel lot, chaos. Ethan grappling two suits. Bloodied but unbowed. Ryan fleeing. Coward. Alexander joined fray. Fist to face. Knee to groin. Security arrived. Sirens wailing. Ryan cuffed. Spilling to cops. Paid by Lang for insider access via Ethan. Betrayal confirmed. But Ethan's eyes, meeting Alexander's amid melee. Innocence. Agony. Cops hauled thugs. Paramedics patched. In ambulance, Ethan gripped Alexander's hand. Believed you once. Won't again? No, didn't do it. Swear. I know. Alexander kissed knuckles. Tear-streaked. My fault. Saw ghosts. Hospital. Stitches. Scans. Ethan discharged. But Rift yawned. Need time, he said, packing motel bag. To trust myself around you. Alexander nodded. Throat raw. Take it. I'll wait. But waiting was hell. Firm salvaged. Lang ruined. But victory hollow. Nights alone. Dreams of towers mocked him. A month carved hollows under eyes. Then, knock. Ethan. Duffel slung. Expression guarded. Missed the eggs. Relief crashed. Embrace fierce. Bodies aligning like puzzle lost. Inside. Words tumbled. Ryan was temptation, old habit. Proving I could walk away. But I couldn't. Not from you. Forgive. Alexander whispered. Ethan's smile. Tentative. Working on it. Show me. Nights healed. Slow rebuild. Touches tentative then bold. Ethan bottoming one eve. Vulnerable. Hold me down. But gentle. Alexander did. Thrusts measured. Eyes locked. Free always. Climax wept joy. Winter clamped New York in iron. Snow dusting Central Park like forgotten promises. Holiday's twinkling false cheer. Alexander and Ethan's thaw deepened. Shared scarves on walks. Ethan's laugh thawing Alexander's guarded heart. Firm stabilized. Headlines praising Hale's resilience. Privately, Alexander credited Ethan, his anchor. But forgiveness was mosaic. Pieces sharp. Ethan's dreams worsened. Full scenes now. The imprisonment vivid. Mornings, he'd bolt up, gasping. I see your face at the slot. It's for us, you said. But it was for you. Alexander absorbed. No defense. Punish me, he'd offer, half jest. Stocks in the wine cellar. Ethan's chuckle masked pain. Tempting. But I'd rather explore. Exploration. Boundaries pushed. One blizzard night. Power out. Candles guttering. Ethan bound Alexander's wrists. Silk ties. Loose. Your turn to feel helpless. Alexander yielded. Pulse racing. Ethan's mouth trailed fire, neck, chest, lower, teasing denial till please spilled. Please, Ethan, beg like I did, voice husky, but eyes tender. I beg. For you. Always. Release shattered. Aftercare murmurs. Love you. Echoed back. Love you too. Scars and all. Public steps. New Year's at Times Square. Crammed amid revelers. Ball drop. Ethan's arm steel around waist. Kiss at midnight, deep. Unashamed wolf whistles fading to irrelevance. This life, Ethan shouted over cheers. We choose, but choice tested. Spring bloomed. A trip beckoned. Alexander's conference in San Francisco. Tech Mecca. Come, he urged. See my world. Ethan hesitated. Your world ate me once. Not anymore. Persuasion. Vineyards. Fog-kissed bridges. Ethan relented. California sun gilded them. Napa tastings. Ethan's hand in Alexander's under tables. Alcatraz tour. Ironic, Ethan's grip tightening at cell doors. Irony noted, he quipped, but voice strained. Hotel suite. Bayview. King bed. Love-making ocean roared. Ethan riding. Hips rolling like tides. Alexander's hands free to roam. No chains, Ethan gasped, climaxing with cry, release, literal. After, balcony whispers. Healing, Ethan admitted. But the tower. Zoo, too. The part that controls. Alexander nodded. I'm learning. Promise. Return east. Normalcy. But undercurrent. Ethan's job offers piled security firms. Legit. Thinking of taking one, he said over dinner. My own thing. Pride swelled. But fear nipped. Away from me? With you. Partner. Not pet. Agreement. Ethan Hale Dynamics VP. Security wing. Press release. Hale welcomes Ethan Carver as executive. Headlines speculated. Power couple? Ethan laughed it off. Alexander basked. Summer sweltered. Hampton's escape. Beach house. Waves crashing confessions. Bonfires. Ethan carving initials in sand, AE. Tides promising erasure. One night. Storm raged. Power flickering. Ethan paced. Eyes haunted. Full memory hit today. The boy Tom. I loved him light. Easy. You. Consuming. Alexander stilled. Beer bottle sweating. I destroyed that. No. Ethan knelt. Hands on knees. You destroyed us. But him? He lived free. Silence stretched. Thunder rumbling. Do you still love like that? Ethan's gaze pierced. No. You taught me deeper. Darker. Relief. Then, show me. Stormlit sex. Raw. Ethan topping fierce. Marks bloomed. Reminders. Mine, he growled. But post-climax. Tenderness. Ours. Fall leaves turned. Anniversary loomed. Not death, but first meeting this life. Alexander planned. Rooftop. City sprawl. Recreating that rainy night. But betrayal's echo lingered. Ryan. Jailed. But letter smuggled taunts to Ethan. He'll cage you again. Ethan burned them, but see doubt. Climax brewed corporate. Hale merger with Lang's remnants. Poison pill. Victor. Cornered. Lashed. Gala photos leaked. Twisted. Hale's bodyguard lover mole? Scandal erupted. Stocks dipped. Board panicked. Alexander in crosshairs. Ethan targeted. Protests at gates. Slurs scrawled. Home. Ethan shattered glass. Rage incarnate. They call me whore. Gold digger. Because of you. Not me, them. Alexander blocked door. Fight with me. No. Ethan's voice cracked. Fight from you. Always pulling strings. Flash. Tower slot. Alexander's silhouette. It's the past, Alexander pleaded. Is it? Ethan grabbed coat. Need air. Real air. Gone again, subway to Queens. Old haunts. Nights. Alexander vigil. Texts unanswered. PI at dive. Drinking. Alone. Heartbreak. Past repeating. His hand turning key. Dawn raid. Alexander at bar. Ethan slumped over stool. Eyes red-rimmed. Go away. Can't. Alexander slid beside. Ordering water. I control nothing. But I choose you. Ethan's laugh hollow. Choice? You orchestrated this, me. Here. Loving you despite. Despite. Everything. Head dropped to bar. The chains. They're inside now. Forged by you. But I wear them. Alexander's hand covered his, trembling. Then we melt them. Together. Bartenders knowing nod. They cabbed home. Silence heavy. Penthouse. Collapse into arms. Kisses salt-sobbed. Bed. Gentle. Ethan vulnerable, slow rocks. Tears mingling. Don't let go. Never. Morning light. Packed. Therapy, Ethan proposed. Both. Unpack the tower. Alexander agreed. Sessions, raw past regressions. This life's projections. Dr. Ellis. Neutral. Guided. Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's witness. Progress. Ethan's promotion announced clean. Scandal faded. Love's truth outlasting lies. Holiday gala. Arm in arm. Ethan in bespoke. Alexander beaming. Dance. Seamless. Eyes only each other. Whisper. Forgiving. Slowly. Winter's grip loosened into spring's promise. Cherry blossoms veiling Brooklyn streets like veils on brides. Alexander and Ethan's therapy bore fruit. Conversations flowed freer. Past barbs dulled to discussion points. Dates. Indie films in East Village. Ethan's head on shoulder. Commentary rye. Brunches in Williamsburg. Mimosas bubbling laughs. Ethan's wing at Hale thrived. AI security. Ethical hacks. Irony, he quipped in meetings, guarding from ghosts. Alexander's pride, boundless. Board praised, stock soared. Privately, you're my best acquisition. Ethan's smirk, bought and paid? Nah. Earned. Intimacy evolved, trusts bloom. One eve, post-yoga, Ethan's idea. Limbering souls, they explored toys. Blindfolds. Ethan blindfolded, hands bound loose. Trust test. Alexander's touches feather light. Building to crescendo, Ethan arching. Please modern. More. Alex. Climax. Unbound. Ethan flipping dominance. Gratitude in every thrust. Equals. Summer solstice. Road trip. Route 66 Echo. But east, Hudson Valley. Cabins wood smoke scented. Hikes. Vistas vast. Ethan's hand steadying descents. Campfire tales. Ethan's full memory now, imprisonment's horror, but prelude's joy. You were fire, he said, stars wheeling. Burned bright, then out. Alexander poked embers. Reignite. Ethan's kiss. Answer. Fall harvest. Vineyard tour. Finger Lakes. Wine tastings. Tipsy confessions. Marry me, Ethan slurred. Half jest. Alexander's heart stuttered. Yes. Sober morning. Meant it. Proposal proper. Central Park. Under same oak as first run. Knee. Ring platinum. Thorns etched. Roses inlaid. No cages. Just circles. Ethan's yes. Tear-choked. Fist bump follow. Partners. Wedding planning, small. Humanistic. Rooftop. City witness. Vows. Custom. Alexander. I chained your body once. Now I free your soul eternally. Ethan. You imprisoned my heart. Now it roams free. Back to you. Guests. Sparse Marco. Dr. Ellis. Firm allies. No families, past lives orphans. This life's chosen. Honeymoon. Amalfi Echo? No smoky mountains. Cabins remote. Days. Hikes. Naked swims in creeks. Nights. Porches. Stars. Slow love. Ethan tracing vows into skin. Back. Life seamless. Ethan authored book, Shadows of the Soul. Reincarnation and redemption. Ghostwritten? No. Raw prose. Bestseller. Ironic fame. Challenges lingered. Dreams faded. But triggers crowds. Keys turning flared. Alexander learned cues. Space giving. Climax revisited. Anniversary gala. Lang's ghost, buried. But past surfaced, anonymous package. Replica key. Engraved forgiven. Ethan paled. Alexander crushed it. We decide. Burning ritual, Central Park. Ashes to wind. Done, Ethan declared. Hand squeeze. Years blurred. Adoption talks. Surrogate. Boy named Tom. Nod to ghosts. Little Tommy's first steps. Ethan's arms, protector pure. Aging graced. Silver threading Ethan's hair. Laugh lines Alexander's eyes. Rocking chairs. Porch city distant hum. One eve. Sunset gilding skyline. Ethan leaned head on shoulder. Forgave you lifetimes ago. Alexander kissed temple. Thank you. Humanistic close. No perfection, but presence. Love, earned through fire, past chains to present rings. In America's sprawl, two souls, unbound, eternal. Epilogue whisper. Tommy, grown, asks of dreams. Stories, Ethan says, of men who broke, then built, and in quiet nights, Alexander holds him free, forgiven, forever.